Queen's Lyd podcast. I'm your host, Amy Singleton, and as a child of the 80s, I'd love to say Queens rule, but they don't. Queens lead. Being a queen means you are worthy to be a leader of people. The guests on our show do exactly that. They are leading the way in their businesses, families, and communities. They're taking their rightful place in the spotlight, leading and inspiring the developing queens in all of us. Welcome to the Queen's Lyd podcast. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Queen's Lyd podcast. Today, I am so honored to be joined by Lydia Eldridge of Off the Lyd Cookies. Hello, Lydia.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am doing fantastic.
Don't you lie. It's been a total struggle to get on this podcast all day for both of us. So Lydia is a mother of 6. A former teacher, and we just recently met at a women's conference in Durant, Oklahoma. So please, Lydia, introduce yourself to the audience. Let them know who you are and kind of what's going on.
Okay. Yes, I am Lydia. I am a former teacher, former military wife, now veteran wife. And yes, we do have 6 children. And I own, like Amy said, I own Off the Lyd Cookies and Company. And how that kind of came to be, I was quite a few years into teaching and I was just getting burnt out. As each year went on, I was getting more and more burnt out and I was doing a lot of work and I found myself going, I am spending more time at the school than I am with my family.
Yeah.
And I said, like, something's got to give. Something has got to give. And I remember sitting on our bed. It was like almost midnight and I was just crying. I told my husband, I said, babe, I can't do it anymore. Like, I just can't do this anymore. And he said, then don't. And I was like,
Wait, are you sure you want to say that? Because I'm about to leave. I'm not going back tomorrow.
Right. And so he said, don't. And I was like, oh, okay, you're serious. And he essentially was like, I would much rather have a wife who is happy and rested. And he's like, I don't even care about the income, the loss of income. He's like, I would much rather have you be happy and rested than stressed out all the time and missing out on our family. And so I was like, okay, literally went in the next day, gave my 2 weeks notice. Now I did tell them I would finish out because it was the beginning of December. So I said, I will finish out until Christmas break hits. And then I'm not coming back next semester. And honestly, that was like one of the best decisions that we could have ever made. And I had actually started Off the Lyd. I had started it June of 2021. But it was just like a side thing. I was just kind of doing it on the side, was not really fully invested in it. And so I was just kind of like, doing it here and there. So when I put in my 2 weeks notice, let's see, that was December of 2021. Yeah. And I knew, I said, okay, well, then I'm going to go full time into my baking business. But at the time I was also pregnant with our 6-month-old. Yeah, I was pregnant with our 6-month-old, pregnant with our 6. Yeah. And so I had given myself a goal of a year to get my business built up. I said, okay, so starting January, I'm going to get my business built up because my goal was to replace my teaching salary. Yeah. And I said, okay, I'm going to give myself a year to do that. Well, then our son ended up coming early. He came 3 months premature. Oh, wow. So he came in April and I was just starting to get just a little bit momentum, letting people know I'm doing this full time. And then bam, he is born. And so then all of a sudden we're at the hospital and, but I was so glad I quit my teaching job when I did, because that gave me the flexibility to be able to stay at the hospital with him until we brought him home. And what was nice was that I was still able to work on my baking business, just like from the back end, get a lot of the things
Yeah.
taken care of, like my website, and just really kind of stay visible
Mm-hmm.
to people online, have a visible
Yeah.
online presence. And he gets out of the hospital in July. And I'm like, okay, I've got to hit the ground running. I still want to meet my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I met my goal when by the time January 2023 hit, I met my
Wow.
goal of replacing my teaching salary, and I did it in like less than 6 months time. And
Yes.
which was
Talk about
mind
queen. Oh
blowing.
my God. Welcome to the show, queen. Oh, that's amazing. And I mean, I know you probably feel like a year's worth of time was like a long, long time, but that is a hairy, audacious, freaking wacko goal. You know that? Like to replace your own income in 1 year by yourself?
Yeah,
Hats off to you. Crowns off to you for real. I mean, that's amazing. I talked to very few business owners who are able to do that, especially with something like that in between of being at the
right.
hospital for 3 months straight.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
incredible.
Well, and
Wow.
honestly, I just made sure I didn't waste my time. I mean, because when you're in the hospital with a premature baby, half the time for the first like month, he was in a little
Yeah.
incubator, and I
Mm-hmm.
just sat next to the bed, and I'm like, my presence is here. There's not much I can do, so I might as well be productive.
Yeah.
And so I was, and then so January 2023 hit, and I said, okay, now my goal is to double that and
Wow.
double what I did last year. And I am currently on track to, I am currently at, if I stay on track,
Mm-hmm.
I will be close to almost tripling last year. So
Wow.
if I stay on track.
That's what I'm talking
And
about.
another one of my goals was to not just double it, but double it with doing less work.
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
and putting fewer hours, which meant raising my prices, establishing strong boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. It's like when you establish strong boundaries, you realize you almost it's crazy how it ends up being more profitable. It really does
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you in the long run. And
Wow.
so so that's where we're at. But then now we're also working on, I am also working on starting my own podcast, and and I'm hoping to launch that near the end of June.
Mm-hmm.
So um then also we are I'm helping my husband launch his podcast because he has just a huge heart for veterans because he is one himself, and
Yeah.
he has been through the struggles
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The hell.
of,
You can
yes,
say the hell of
the
what
hell.
that means.
We have been
Yeah.
through the hell
The hell. Yeah.
of coming out of the military and trying to go into civilian life, but there is so much change, and a lot of veterans struggle with that change because they're so used to this rigid lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, I don't know what I want. Like, I struggle with my identity and all of that stuff. And
Mm.
my husband struggled with all of those. And now he's like, okay, I don't want them. I want to be able to be someone that they can reach out to, someone who can help them. And
Mm.
he already has a Facebook page that has well over 20,000 followers.
Wow.
Yes. And
What's
so
that? Throw that out there here. Just we'll throw it out at
the
the end again, but
yeah, the veritable veteran.
oh, I
Um,
like that.
Veritable veteran. So we came up with the name because veritable is rooted in verity, which means truth. And he's essentially veteran who says, I'm going to speak how it is, and I'm
Mm.
not going to mince words, and everything that I say is in truth. And so he's got a pretty good following. He is going to start the Veritable Veteran podcast. We're actually hoping to launch in the next 2 weeks. And
Wow.
yes,
You do have a
and
lot going on.
yeah, Yeah. And
Oh
I'm
my
kind of
gosh.
his, I'm essentially his VA in that. So
Yep.
we've got a lot of pieces to maneuver and stuff, but honestly, we love it. And he's hoping, he is currently a police officer, and we are hoping that eventually, um, he will be able to do the variable veteran stuff, full time, because he has huge dreams and goals in that
Awesome.
too. So, and I'm
Wow.
here to support him and to help with the spouse side of things. So,
And how long have you guys been together or married?
let's see, we'll be celebrating 14 years in December. So, so yeah, 13 and a half years. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
Let's go
you.
back to where you
Okay.
started
Sorry.
talking about. No, I love I love the high level view, but I want to go back and start breaking down some of that. You
Okay.
said the word boundaries. And I
Yes.
feel like us good, nice Oklahoma, polite women have no freaking boundaries. Can we just say that right now? Because we're all so nice and so pleasant all the freaking time. Tell me about some of those boundaries that you had to set. I mean, the first one, it sounds like with probably as a teacher and leaving that profession. I can only imagine the huge heart you have. How difficult
Yes.
was that for you to leave that profession and set those boundaries with teachers, other teachers, administration, parents, students? Tell us what that transition was like.
Okay. So I will say, well, so first of all, I am actually not Oklahoma born or whatever. I'm actually from Pennsylvania. So
Oh, that
we
makes so
up
much more
north,
sense. Please
we
teach
up
us.
north know how to establish
Please
those
teach us.
boundaries.
Now, see, I regularly get accused of being from the Northeast. Like people think I'm a New Yorker or something, but just because of my sass, but truly I
Yeah.
struggle with the boundary thing too, because
Yeah.
I'm nice, right?
Right.
Teach us,
No,
a
yeah.
wise
No,
Northerner.
no, I will say I am considered, like, people up north would consider me more southern than
Yeah.
northern in most areas, because I'm too nice according to them.
Yes.
But
Yeah, but
on
compared to like someone born and raised in Oklahoma, you're like probably a real bitch. So like we need to learn from you.
I don't know if I would say that.
That's why I
I
love
don't know
you so
about that.
much. Come on.
Yeah. So honestly, when I will admit that I struggled when I stepped down from teaching and I said, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. I went through a period of depression for about a month after that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because so much of my identity was tied up in
Mm.
teaching
Yeah.
and my students. Um, but I will say that I did have to learn boundaries with, parents and stuff. Like, I would not respond to emails after a certain time period. And, that upset some parents. But I'm
Mhm.
like, no, this time is established for my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
And I would put an away message on my email. I'm spending time with my family. I would get back to your email in the morning.
Yeah.
And um and I would have parents who would somehow get a hold of my cell phone number and try to
Oh
call me and
no.
text me. And
Oh wow.
I just wouldn't pick up.
Yeah.
Um because again, for me, that's inappropriate in
Mhm.
my opinion.
Yeah.
But I will say that I have to be honest, the whole being overworked as a teacher, I feel like that is an overarching problem in teaching, period. An
Yeah.
overarching problem in teaching, period. But I have to accept responsibility for some of it
Mhm.
and say that I did not have good boundaries. I was really bad at saying no. And I would just be like, yeah, they would see that honestly, I'm very talented in a lot of the creative realms. And they'd be like, oh,
Mhm.
well, Lydia can do that. Oh,
Yeah.
well, Lydia's really good at doing that. Like,
Yeah.
let's have her do that. And so I'd be like, okay,
Mhm.
okay, I will.
Yeah.
I only
Yeah.
have, a million children at home, but I'll find time for it. And
Yeah.
I was I was getting to a point where I was sleeping 2 to 3 hours, if that, at night.
Wow.
And I was just like, I can't do this. And um, by the time I quit, I was teaching like 4 different subjects. I was teaching English. I was in charge of the fine arts program. I was teaching drama, music, art,
Wow.
all the things. And then in charge of spring plays, programs, things like
Was
that.
it at the
And
junior high school level?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
junior high school level. But the music was elementary. English was middle school, high school.
Oh my
So
gosh, you were teaching at all grade levels, all subjects across. Holy crap.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No.
but
I don't blame you for
again,
going home and saying that.
right.
Good night.
Again, like some of it was me and some of it was my, like I was really bad at delegating.
Mhm.
And some perfectionism came into that. So I will say, like, I'm responsible for some of my
Yeah.
burnout. Like,
Sure.
I am responsible for some of my burnout. And so that's honestly what taught me boundaries in my business, because I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to put into place to keep myself from burning out again?
Mhm.
And having that time with our baby in the hospital, it just made me realize, if I don't establish boundaries right from the beginning, then then I'm not going to be able to have this time with my
Yeah.
kids. I'm not going to
Mhm.
be able to do that. So some of the boundaries I put into place are, I don't respond to messages after 7 o'clock at night. I don't respond to messages. And I have an away message on pretty much everything, all of my contacts, that says, if it's during the day, I will get back to you within the next 3 hours. And then if it's after 7 o'clock, I will get back to you in the morning.
Mhm. Yeah.
And as far as like, orders are concerned, when people place an order or place a request, I automatically have a message on there that says, this is when I read the new orders. This is when I'm going to respond to them. And initially it was hard to stick to that.
Yeah. I bet.
Initially it was hard to stick to some of those things, but it gets easier. It gets easier over time.
Yeah. So
I say that.
mostly with your time, it sounds
Yes,
like the boundaries have been
yes.
there. Mhm.
And I make sure I always have at least 2 to 3 days off a week where I'm not
Yeah.
working. I will not
Mhm.
respond to anything. I'm not doing anything with my business. That's my family time.
Yeah.
And so far it's been doing okay.
So far, so good. Now tell us about, you have 6 children and one
Yes.
is obviously still pretty tiny. What are the ages?
Okay, so my oldest is 13, or well, okay, he will be 13. I say he's 13 just
Yeah.
because he might as well be.
Almost. Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then we've got 10, 9, 8, and then 3, and then the baby who is a year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How do you do it? Because I believe you told me that you also homeschool them.
I do. I do.
Oh my gosh. How
Yeah.
contingent is your life upon a calendar?
Very. If
Yeah, I bet.
if I could move my phone, I would show you. I literally have a wall calendar.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things that you get from Hobby Lobby. It's like the big chalkboard
Hmm.
calendars.
Oh
I
yeah.
have that. And um honestly, one of the things that has helped my husband and I is just start going at the beginning of the week, and us like kind of going through the week, and
Mhm.
both of us being like, what do we have going on this week?
Yes.
Is there any places that we need to go? When do we need to go grocery shopping? I even plan out when I'm going to do the laundry.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
to. I have to.
I can only
I mean,
imagine.
otherwise it won't get done.
Have you been able
Asana.
to bring it? Oh, Asana. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Asana is
Love
my
it.
friend.
Right. No kidding.
Asana.
And you get the cute little like unicorn rainbow when you complete something, so you
Yes.
feel like extra accomplished. Even my
I
husband loves
know.
that. He will not tell anyone, but he loves that little rainbow. He's like, oh, I did it.
Yeah.
This makes you feel good.
I know. They're like, congratulations, you accomplished a task.
Yes.
You get
Hey man,
started.
sometimes I just put things on my Asana so that I can click them off. Like
Yeah.
I already did that, but I'm going to put it in there anyway because I want the rainbow.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who does that.
Oh my God, I love it.
Oh, that is too
Oh
funny.
man. What would you say? Because I talk to a lot of teachers, a lot of people in healthcare and like counselors and a lot of people who do one-on-one type of work, but that are exiting their business, that are exiting their industry, just like you did. I mean, went to something so completely different. Well, maybe not completely different, but they're pretty different.
Yeah.
But what would you say to that person who is sitting there going, I'm burnout, I gotta quit, I have this idea and I'm terrified?
Yeah. Well, do it scared. Like that's
Yes.
honestly, I had to do it scared, and I was mind blown when my husband said, just do it. And I even think I remember, I want to say I said to him, but I'm so scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but honestly, that okay, sometimes we focus more on what we're going to lose when we walk away.
Mhm.
And you have to change your mindset into thinking, what am I going to gain? What am I going to gain from walking away from this? And I had to do that. I had to look at what I was going to gain. And for me, time freedom was just one of the biggest things that I wanted. That's one of
Mhm.
the, excuse me, that's one of the things that one of the reasons I chose to homeschool my kids was because I knew that having them in school, I would still be strapped to a time frame. And
Yeah.
and I didn't want to be strapped to any time frames.
Mhm.
I wanted to be able to set our own times. And
Yeah.
that's why I chose to homeschool. And there was so much time freedom in that. But then I was like, I'll be able to gain, like, being able to say goodnight to my kids and actually be present when I'm saying goodnight.
Yeah.
I will be able to wake up at a decent time
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to like be rested. And there was just so many things. I thought, okay, I'm going to gain so much more through this.
Mhm.
And then it made the doing it scared not be so scary.
Yeah.
um and I know some people, okay, so some people might be like, okay, well, your husband is still working, so you still had his income. um so right around the time that I stepped down from my teaching job, we actually had, at that time, we had four sources of income coming in at that time. Um, through my husband's job, he was also in school, so he was getting the VA, the GI Bill.
Mhm.
And then there was something else, and I can't remember. My husband and I had gotten, no, I want to say there's five sources of income.
Wow.
And we went down to, so when I quit, it was crazy because it seemed like all of these income sources just went
Mm.
all at the same time. And then all we had, then because my husband stopped, he finished up school, so the GI Bill income was gone, and right around the same time. And it was like, literally, it just seemed like, holy cow, bad timing. Like, why
Yeah.
did we do this? Bad
Yeah.
timing. All of a sudden, we went from like five sources of income to one.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we calculated that we had lost, like, I don't know, like $50,000,
Oh my gosh.
per year,
Mhm.
um, just in an instant.
Mm.
And but I am here to say, like, it ended up being okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Obviously, it ended up being
Obviously.
okay. And so sometimes sometimes when you're so scared to take that leap, you are preventing yourself from finding like the glory on the other side of the door,
Mhm.
because it's like all you have to do is walk through it, and it's right there waiting for you. And what's holding you back is yourself,
It's
fear.
you.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's you.
Yeah. There's
And
no such thing as being fearless. I mean, people say that a lot, but for me, I'm never not terrified to
yeah,
do almost
right.
anything I'm doing until I've done it at least once. Right.
Yep.
And I had a youth pastor one time give this example of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And when you're like a kid, that's the best thing you could possibly hope for, right?
Yeah,
Like we're holding
right.
this sandwich. We love this sandwich and it's our sandwich and it's so good and it's got my favorite kind of jelly and it's all I want. But what we don't realize is if we drop the sandwich and walk through the door, there's Thanksgiving dinner on the other side of the door.
Yes.
But we want our
Yes.
freaking PBJ because we don't know any better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was like, I have to constantly remind myself of that. Like, put down the PBJ, lady, put it down, keep walking.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, and I feel like, in the realm of like veterans and stuff, it's a lot of them. That's why a lot of them struggle. It's because they're like, well, this is the only life I've known. That's why you have a lot of veterans who then go into police officer roles and things like that, because it's very similar
Yeah.
to what their life was like before.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I mean, my husband's a police officer, so
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But it's like it's that sense of I'm holding so strongly to this identity over here that I feel like no other identity is going to work out for me. And nothing else is going to be good for me. And it's like, no, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah.
And I will say, I didn't fully walk away from teaching. I actually, part of my business is teaching cookie classes. So I teach cookie decorating classes, and that came birthed out of, I was I was about halfway through my trying to meet my goals, because I was at the point where I was like, I have 3 months left to meet my goal, and
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, I said, what can I do to leverage, my talents and what I already have? And I'm like, I miss teaching. I love teaching. Oh my word, I can teach people how to decorate cookies. And so
Yeah.
then that's where the classes came in. And that like massively leveraged my business. And
Wow.
I know a lot of other, cookie decorators and bakers and stuff, they're like, why would you teach other people how to do what you do? And because I'm not afraid of having competition.
Yeah.
But I'm not, because I am huge community over competition minded.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know what? You want to start a business? Awesome. Like, tell me about it. You want to do the same thing I'm doing? I'm not going to like give you all my secrets, but I am
Yeah.
going to support you. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to help you as much as I can. But I'm like, hey, you do it. Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
There's enough
I'm not
success for
gonna,
all of us. No one's
yes,
ever
there's
going to
enough
be
room
able
at the
to
table.
replicate you and your
Right.
secret sauce. I mean, you're not getting my
Yes,
recipes, but I'm going to show you how to do it.
exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's
And
enough room.
exactly. And, and people seem to forget that a business is not what makes up the business. Yes, it's the product, but it's the person behind the product. And it's how
Mm-hmm.
you present yourself and how you, come before your customers. And that's where most of your success lies,
Mm-hmm.
is you. What are
Yeah,
you doing? How are you showing up for
that's
your
right.
customers?
That's right.
So, yeah.
Let's talk to the veteran wife, the military wife out there. I have zero concept of what you have been through, what you have gone through, what you continue to go through. So share with me and the audience some of those struggles and how you and your husband have worked so closely together to overcome those. And I know now wanting to take that word out to the world
Yeah.
and help others with it.
Yeah. So I will say, I feel like um, one of the reasons that there is such a massive divorce rate among, veteran couples is because the spouses don't know how to help their veteran
Mhm.
spouse. They get to a point because honestly, typically what happens is when they get out of the military, the veterans are and this goes for veteran women too, women who have served. And honestly, sometimes I feel like the struggle is even greater for them because they spent so much time trying to prove
Mhm.
to the military that I belong here, and
Yeah.
then they get out and then they go into the civilian world who's like, oh, well, you were just a female in the
Yeah.
military. And it's like some of them saw some pretty rough stuff,
Mhm.
and even as the females. And so then there's this, so you're watching your spouse go through this massive identity crisis, and they're trying to fill in the identity crisis with all of these coping mechanisms,
Mhm.
alcoholism, drugs, things like that. I mean, we didn't deal with the drugs um, side of things, but I watched my husband battle, mentally, emotionally, trying to fill in all the space, to drown out the noise in his
Mhm.
head that he's not good enough, that um, he has no purpose, that a life outside of the
Mhm.
military is purposeless. And a lot of wives honestly just don't know how to help them anymore. And they're like, can't I can't carry your burden anymore. Like I can't try to fight this
Mhm.
with you. And so it's more of a, I'm going to help you by walking away. Like they feel like their only way that they can help
Mhm.
them is to
Yeah.
just walk away.
Mhm.
And um and I can't, again, I can't blame them.
Yeah.
And so honestly, I would say that speaking to the spouses of veterans, make sure, you're taking care of yourself. Don't hide. It's so easy to um, almost hide away and try to pretend that none of this is happening. And
Mhm.
you almost find yourself walking in shame because
Mm.
you're like, I know I know who my husband really is. I
Mhm.
know who they really are, but it's hidden under all of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get that person out. And it's like you're walking on eggshells because you're just like, I love them because I know who they really are under all of this mess. And
Mhm.
um and so I would say, get help for yourself first. Like you reach out, don't internalize and then try to do it alone. You can't.
Mhm.
Find a community, find other spouses
Mhm.
who understand, who get it, that you can reach out to, and try to get your husband or wife, your veteran spouse, connected with other veterans, but connected with other veterans who are in a healthier place
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
because
That's huge.
yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah. And I mean, the only thing I can relate that to is that when I got diagnosed with lupus, okay, I got diagnosed with a whole host of different autoimmune diseases, and I didn't know what to do. So I started joining all these support groups in
Mm-hmm.
person, online, on Facebook. And it was nothing, to be quite honest, but a bitch and pity fest. And they weren't
Yeah.
helping me. They
Yeah.
were making me spiral worse. So I'm so glad that you
Yeah.
said that. Seek help from people who have been there, done that, and overcome that thing.
Right.
And where
Right.
are these groups?
So that's the problem.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
sounds like the
problem.
problem, right? No,
They
where? I don't think it's at the
where?
VA offices.
N-
I mean, I wish it were, but I'm pretty sure it's not
Yeah.
there. Probably not.
No,
What is
see, and
the
that's the
veritable truth about this bullcrap?
right. That's the problem. And that's the gap that my husband is trying to fill.
Mm,
And because there is a massive need and a massive gap um, for all these veterans who are struggling. and they have nowhere to go. They have no one to connect to who is in a healthier place. And they
Mhm.
feel alone. They feel isolated. They feel like they get stuck in this idea that they're the only one, that they're only
Mhm.
one struggling with this.
Yeah.
And they get trapped by the shame of
Mhm.
feeling this way. And and there's just and so then they don't want to talk about it because they don't want to go to someone, and they don't want to go to just anyone. You know,
Right.
they're not going to talk to just a random psychologist or
Yeah.
because they're like, they don't get it. They, unless they have served, they don't
Right.
understand.
Mm-mm.
And they legitimately don't.
No,
There
there's
is
no way they could.
no, no. And so that's the gap my husband is trying to fill in. And I feel like he has a good grounding because he has halfway through his military career, he moved from doing doing a job that wasn't combat to joining infantry, and then he has seen combat, been in combat, so he has done both sides of the military
Mm-hmm.
work. So he
Yeah.
knows what it's like to be on the side where you're like, well, I didn't do anything. Like, all I did
Mm-hmm.
was push papers and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
he has been on the side where he has seen combat. He knows the mental struggles of both sides of the military.
Yeah.
And he's able to address those. And he is open and honest about his struggles. He's like, I will tell you, I fell into alcoholism. He's like, I fell into my own self-pity and wallowed in it. And
Mm-hmm.
he's now at a place where he's like, knock it off. You know, Sometimes you just need someone to just be like,
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah. We do. We all need that person.
Yes. Yes. And it's like, and he has such a good balance of like discipling while
Mm.
also being ready to smack you across the face if you're being dumb, you know,
Yeah.
and he's going to hold you accountable. And so that's why I am so excited for what he has, because we honestly, we have visions. We have massive visions for this. We see, big speaking engagements. We see these, I don't know, it's going to be, I'm really excited. It's going to be awesome. And with how passionate my husband is about this, like, I dare say it's going to kick off. Once he gets his podcast going, I think things are going to just skyrocket super fast, and we're just going to be
Yeah.
hanging on for
Heck
dear life.
yeah. Yeah, you are. That's amazing. I'm so proud of it. Well, I can't believe our time is almost up. Can you tell us a bit about the cookies and about Off the Lid? Because let me just tell you guys, we were gonna buy like 6, then we bought like a dozen, and then they were all gone in like 2 days. I'm not kidding. They were so good. You were not lying about that s'mores cookie. Oh my God, you guys.
Yeah.
It's Off the Lid, lydcookies.com. Yes, you can buy them online, even if you're not
Yes.
super close to Oklahoma. So dish about the cookies.
Okay. So let's see. So Off the Lid Cookies. So my goal, that was another thing that I think has helped my success, is niching or niching down. I don't even know how, like, the
Yeah.
proper way of saying that word.
It's the GIF and
Niche,
GIF
niche.
argument. Niche. I don't know.
um so really, like, deciding on where my niche was. And because I always have people who ask me, they're like, do you do cakes? And I'm like, no, nope.
Mhm.
My realm is cookies. And I was like, I want to be able to be called the cookie lady. And so
Yeah.
I do custom decorated cookies, but I don't just do custom decorated cookies. I'm very much like if you want like bougie, um, really intricately decorated cookies, and then come to me. I'm there for
Mhm.
you. And but I also do logo cookies for, bigger companies. So if you want your logo, and I've got an edible printer, so I do edible printed cookies. So my goal over the next couple of months is to really get into contact with some big companies and to be able to do logo cookies for them. And
Mhm.
then I also do gourmet cookies, which Amy
Yes, you
was
do. Oh,
was
oh
talking
my
about.
gosh. They're
So,
so
and
good.
they're these gourmet cookies, they're jumbo size. So, like my smallest one is 5 ounces. So they're huge cookies. They're like a meal or two meals, maybe for some people
Yeah,
in of itself.
fine.
They're good.
I'm all right with
Probably
that as
why
a
I
meal.
gained like probably why I gained like 100 pounds just because hey, are you really a baker if you don't taste your own product?
I don't
I
trust
mean,
skinny bakers. Mm-mm. Or skinny cooks. Mm-mm. We got to have a little meat going on for me to
that's
have that
right.
trust. That's right.
That's right. And then I do cookie cakes, but I don't just do, I'm a go big or go home kind of person. So I don't just
Yeah.
do cookie cakes. I do deep dish cookie cakes. So my cookie cakes are about like 2 inches thick, and if not bigger. And I do those as well. But then one of my biggest things is cookie classes as well, where I teach people how to do decorated cookies. And honestly, we're just there mainly for fun. Just
Yeah.
come and have fun. And you just come, you learn how to decorate cookies, and you get to eat the cookies, take them home, and um
No, these
you
are
know
for adults, correct? I'm
yeah,
assuming you would let in a child that could handle it, but
right,
these are for
right.
adult groups, correct?
Yes, yeah. It's
Church
it
groups, women's groups, book clubs. That sounds like a
yeah,
blast to come and do something like that with like date nights. Something like that would
yeah.
be so much fun to
Oh
do here.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I also offer like the ability to do private cookie classes. So like it would be great for team building exercise, all sorts of things. So it's like if companies want to reach out and say, "Hey, we would like to have you come and do a cookie class, with our employees." Like absolutely. I will come do that. And
Yeah.
it really it's a lot of fun, and it's a perfect, I don't know. I feel like it's a perfect outlet, creative outlet for pretty much for adults to just be like, let's do something fun, but also learn a
Yeah.
skill. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because then you
So
can like hire you when it really counts. And then like,
yeah,
for your 8-year-old nephew's birthday party, maybe you can try out your newly learned skills. Maybe.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
And can only assume I am looking at the wall behind you must be cookie cutters.
Oh yes. Oh
Dozens
yeah.
and dozens, I'm sure, of cookie cutters.
Yes,
How many are
this is my
there?
cookie. I have no idea.
Lost count.
No idea. Because that wall isn't the only place that has cookie cutters. If you see this cabinet right
Uh-huh.
here, yeah, that
Full
cabinet's
also.
full of cookie cutters too. So, oh, and then this right here
I
is
see
all
that.
cutters.
I love it. You can make any shape, anything people
That's
want.
right.
That's right.
That's right. Although that was like another business decision I made. I said, all right, I'm not buying any more cookie cutters. I
Oh,
am, just going to use what I have because obviously I have a lot.
you have a lot.
So,
Yeah. And I bet some of those other shapes can definitely be turned into other things.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
turn it
So,
upside down and it's a golf club. You turn it over, it's something else. Like, yeah, I could totally see that.
right. Right. Yes. So yeah, like I want to say I'm trying to think through if I do anything else. No, that's pretty much it. Like I'm like I do cookie classes, decorated cookies, gourmet cookies, and cookie cakes, and that's it. Oh, and I also have a monthly subscription box that for the gourmet
Ooh.
cookies. So people get like the best value if they subscribe, because you
Yeah.
can either get the small box or the large box, and I do ship, those. So, um, and I also ship my gourmet cookies too. I do ship I can ship pretty much any of the stuff, obviously, except for my cookie. Hey, if you want to fly me out to you
There
to
you
teach a
go,
class,
right?
yes, I will
That's
come to
right.
you.
That's right.
I am there.
You're there. That's it. Yeah,
That's
we'll do it
right.
on the beach and the mountains, wherever you want me to go.
That's right. That's right.
If you need
But
assistance, I will come with you and be a taste tester and carry all your cutters.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. But
Oh my
so
gosh.
so there's that, and then I'm just hoping to eventually, my podcast is going to be, I'm not going to give the name yet because it's like, I don't want to getting stolen before I get it launched.
Yeah.
But essentially my podcast is going to be focused on business or women entrepreneurs who are also moms, and trying to figure out like, where do you find the balance? I hate the word balance because there's no such thing as balance when you're running a business and being a mom, and just more work-life harmony. And how do you find that harmony between the two, and what are things that you can do to help you, and is it possible to pursue your dreams? Yes. Like, I'm here to tell you it is possible to walk away from that 9 to 5 and pursue your dreams. And so that's what my podcast is going to be, focused on, the theme of. So
I'm excited for it. Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to listen to it. I can't wait to listen to Veritable Veteran also. Go and find Veritable Veteran online, and go and find Off the Lyd, Lyd Cookies.
Yes.
Off the Lyd, and follow this wonderful couple online and watch their journey unfold, because it's going to be amazing right here from Durant, Oklahoma. Congratulations on everything that you and your husband have overcome, on your beautiful family, on your delicious cookies, and for making the real dream and a reality. I mean, you literally bought back your time, and you bought back your life, and I have chills just thinking about it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being my guest, and thank you for being a queen that leads.
Yeah, thank you so much.